Good morning. We are so excited to be back with our Webinar Wednesday series. We know you missed us last week, but we are so excited to be back with a very exciting topic this morning to share with your students about UA Education Abroad opportunities. And we are so excited to have our Director of Education Abroad here, Carolina Robinson, to share with you this morning about some great opportunities and ways to get involved to share with your students. So without further ado, we will pass it right over.
Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Carolina Robinson. I have one of the best jobs here on campus, I believe, as I get to help students plan an international trip overseas during their academic career here at UA. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes to kind of talk about studying abroad at a high level, but we are happy to meet with you, parents and students, anytime. Just stop by our office and we're here to help. So first, I'd like to tell everyone that we have a very active social media. So if you're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, please follow us at Bama Study Abroad. On our social media, we like to share information about scholarships, about abroad opportunities. We have a lot of lunch and learns where we invite some of our partners from overseas, some of our faculty who are leading study abroad programs. And we invite students to come and sit and have a free lunch on us while they learn about the program. So you will find all about our opportunities online through our social media. So it's important to know where we are physically located. We are located at 135 BB Comer. It is a beautiful yellow building in between the FERG and the Quad with the flags. And so I like to tell people that we are kind of a one-stop shop in our office. We help students who have had a lot of international experience. They might have had some studying abroad options in high school. Their parents might have been missionaries. They might have had a lot of family travel overseas. And they might need just a signature from us or a form, an authorization. We're happy to do that. But we're also here to help students who have never been abroad. We help students every year who've never been on a plane before, and we're just here to explain the process to all kind of students. So this presentation, I'm going to just answer a few of our questions that we get over and over, and it's great to be able to provide some answers about this particular topic. But students study abroad for a variety of reasons. We have students who go to learn a new culture. We have students to go and learn a new language. There's nothing more transformative than learning a language overseas when you're immersed in that particular culture or country. We have students who want to go abroad because they want to become a global citizen. We believe that studying abroad enhances employability. We often get many return students who come back and let us know that during their job interviews, the people who were interviewing them wanted to hear about their experience in Africa or wanted to hear about their study abroad program in China or Singapore or London. And so it's often a topic that is discussed during interviews. So one of the kind of byproducts of studying abroad is making new friends, and that's kind of a really interesting thing because our students make friends with students from all over the world, and these friendships last for a very long time. And obviously, students study abroad to earn academic credit. So a couple of questions that students ask us is the first one, where can I go? And really this question should be, where can't you go? The University of Alabama does not allow students to travel to countries where the U.S. State Department says that there is a travel advisory, level 3 and a level 4 in those countries. So we really spend a lot of time focusing on health and safety and making sure that where our students are going are places where we are allowed to go deemed by the State Department. Last year, we had students participate in programs in over 60 different countries. Within our database of programs and partnerships, we have over 1,000 programs, but we often have students who do programs that are outside of our database. For instance, if a student wants to go on a program with another SEC school, or they want to study abroad with Boston University or Ohio State or a smaller school out west, those opportunities are available even though they are not in our particular database. So where can you go really ties into what can I study? We have two types of students who come and study abroad with us. The first type of student is, let's say, someone who has a very strict and kind of tight major. I like to use engineering, for example, where if a student is taking an electrical engineering, most of their major is very specified, and it's a step major where you have to take this course before this one, and this one's only offered at this certain time. And so sometimes there isn't a lot of flexibility to take courses that are a little bit outside of their major. Sometimes, though, those particular tighter majors will have an elective or two for students to participate in. And that elective is open for students to take. So sometimes we might have an electrical engineer who wants to study abroad and has a fascination about photography, and they decide to spend and do a summer course in Florence on photography or art history. That particular course has nothing to do with electrical engineering in terms of their major, but because they have an elective in their major requirements, that photography or art history course will count towards their degree. We also have the other side of students who decide that they want to study abroad in something that's specifically related to their major. I like to use this example that if I am a biology major and I'm interested in marine sciences, then I'm probably going to pick a location where that particular study is available. I'm not going to go to the Sahara Desert to study abroad and study marine sciences. So really where you can go and what can you study are tied together. We have another fascinating course called Fashion Capitals, and students leave Birmingham and they spend a week in New York, then they spend a week in London, then they spend a week in Milan, and then they finish out a week in Paris. Those are all of the fashion capitals of the world based on the fashion industry. So those locations and those countries are important for students who are majoring in that area. But we have programs for all majors. We have programs for minors and electives. So really you just have to think ahead about what you're interested in doing. We have BAMA bloggers. They are students who have been awarded a scholarship from our office. And so we have on our website, BAMA Bloggers Abroad, over 800 unique stories about students and their experiences. Sometimes I tell them it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. You'll hear about new foods that students are eating. You'll also hear about students who've gotten lost or their luggage has been delayed. So it's a really great way to hear from our current students abroad, or even search to see where students have gone based on location, based on their college, or the duration of their program. So this is Diana. She's one of our students. And in her blog, she said, "Each day abroad, I strive to try something new, whether trying a new restaurant, new excursion, or a different route home from school. I want to know that I've pushed myself out of my comfort zone on a regular basis. Even after such a short amount of time here, I can't believe that I'm almost passed up this opportunity just out of fear." So the third question that we get all the time is, when can I go? This has been a myth in study abroad. There are many myths in study abroad, but there's a myth that really you can only go during your junior year. And I like to say that students can go when it makes sense for that student to go. So there are programs available for freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, even graduate level. We've got programs throughout the academic calendar. We have some programs that will go to Cuba over spring break, and it might be a 10 to 11 day trip. We have some students who are traveling to Korea and Japan, and they're studying that particular language for an entire year. So it really just depends on what the student is interested in doing, how many credits the student is wanting to take abroad. Does it financially make sense for that student to go abroad? Maturity-wise, is it make sense? Is the student mature enough to go abroad to these particular locations? And it also depends on the program, because we might have an Oxford program that goes abroad for 5 weeks, but we might have a program in South Africa that just meets for 14 days. It really just depends. A student can go really anytime after their first semester freshman year. So what can students do abroad? So you will have the typical study abroad options where either you have a student who is enrolling in a foreign institution and they are a student of that university. Let's say if we have a student who enrolls in Oxford University, and they are there for the entire semester year taking classes, just as if they were here at UA. We also have students do a study abroad through faculty-led programs. We have over 60 programs every summer that are led by UA faculty that take UA students abroad to different locations depending on their content area. So we have a program in communications that will happen in Rome on bargaining and negotiation. We have a program on resistance and freedom. It's an English program in South Africa. We have a Chinese language program. We've got a business program in Ireland. We've got a Spanish program in Colombia. It just really depends on what that professor's content area is and the country that's chosen. We also have opportunities for students to do research abroad, so they can tack on a research opportunity while they're doing a semester-long program abroad. So one of their classes that they're taking abroad is really focused on research with a faculty member. We have lots of students do service learning trips abroad. So we have students who are helping with medical clinics or dental clinics, doing some social work opportunities abroad. And then lastly, we have students who are going abroad for educational purposes but aren't taking classes at all. They have individual work placements, and these work placements are customizable to what they're interested in. So our internship locations are open for any major, and they are currently in Dublin, Ireland, London, they're in Barcelona, Shanghai, Seoul, Korea, New Zealand, Australia, and Chile. And those are all locations where you can get a customizable work placement based on what someone is interested in doing, but they're all housed with other interns and in study abroad locations. So students have a sense of support and camaraderie with other students with this particular experience. Here's our second Bama blogger. She said, returning home can be tough, but now you have the opportunity to use the ability to adapt and thrive in a new place in any environment you encounter. I had mentioned before that we believe that study abroad improves and helps with the employability factor, and these are some of the skills that students learn, in particular adaptability and being flexible, because sometimes when you go abroad, things aren't always happen as planned, and employers want to make sure that students can accept sometimes when situations aren't as planned. This is my favorite question. How can I pay for my education abroad experience? Because students are taking academic courses, most of the ways or funding that applies to normal tuition will apply to study abroad. For instance, if students are doing or have some kind of merit scholarship from the university, whether it's a presidential or a capstone scholar, those particular programs and scholarships apply for students to use during their study abroad experience. I believe the national merit students are the ones who have an extra $2,000 that they can use on a research or study abroad experience. Students who are on financial aid that financial aid will also apply. We even have a good number of students, almost 100 last year, who are using veteran and military benefits, whether it's federal or state benefits, for studying abroad experiences. We also have scholarships within our office. So we've got an education abroad grant that about 40% of students who applied last year earned some kind of particular funding. And there's some funding within the university, like the Study Away Scholarship that's run through Student Affairs. There's some departmental funding. But we also offer support for students who are doing really kind of large national funding. And we help students with those applications. One is the Gilman Scholarship that students can apply for. There's another one called the Fulbright, the Boren. We all have people on campus to help students create their scholarship packet and essays and transcripts and kind of help them with these particular scholarships. On a side note, of the 60 faculty-led programs that our students participate in, and those normally happen in the summer, all of those are at the in-state rate, regardless if a student is an out-of-state student or not. So we have a lot of our students, almost 1,000 students last year, take advantage of faculty-led programs last summer because it's a really great bargain. So how do I get started? The first place to go is to visit our Study Abroad website, studyabroad@ua.edu. That's a place where we have a database where you can search particular programs. You can come into and set an appointment with our advisors. We have advisors within the Study Abroad office that advise by college. So there's one for the arts and science students and one for the business students, so on and so forth. And so they really have a understanding of students' majors and have the connections within the colleges to help and make sure the students are supported through this process. Every single day we have a Study Abroad 101 session. This particular semester it is at 3:30 p.m. every day, and it's led by one of our interns. It's an alum of Study Abroad, and it's a great place for students to start. Next semester and future semesters, it might be at a different time, so make sure that you check on our website to see when this daily workshop is available. Also on our website, we have a Study Abroad 101 video on our homepage, so if you can't make it in person, you can come and just watch it on our homepage. But we like to have our students do a 101 session first before they meet with an advisor, so they have kind of some of the foundational knowledge about studying abroad. We have faculty on our campus who are happy to talk about their programs abroad, so we can connect students there. But really what's most important is to start early. If you're interested in studying abroad for a summer, we'd like to say that you should start about 6 months early to be in our office and start getting that planning process going. If students want to spend an entire semester or an entire year abroad, we tell students to start a year ahead of time so we can really help them make this process go smoothly. I appreciate your time today, and we would look forward to seeing you guys in our office.
So we hope that was helpful for you parents and family members just to get an idea of how to talk with your students about education abroad opportunities here at UA. And like Carolina said, there is a session every day at 3:30 here in 135 BB Comer so that they can get their questions answered, learn a lot more about the process. And so that 6-month timeline is going to be a great time for them now to start thinking about next summer, next fall, so that they can get the process started. So we know it's close to the end of the semester, but it's a great time for them to get that process started. And so you can talk about that with your student over winter break and just get that started so you can get all those questions answered and make this dream a possibility for all of our students. So Carolina, if folks have questions, they can reach out via website, phone?
Absolutely, via website, via phone. Just stop in our office. We will find somebody to help.
Awesome. So our Education Abroad office is very accessible for students, and we want to make that very accessible for parents and family members to get questions answered as well. So we hope this webinar has helped answer a lot of questions. And so that will conclude today's Webinar Wednesday, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.